get me?
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good morning, Mayor. Those are the attorneys out there, right?
What's the attorney name? Brian Fields, right? Mr. Joe. Mentioned the name. Brian Fields. Attorney. Isn't that Brian? That look like a different. That don't look like the same brother.
We met at the farmer's market.
Mm-hmm.
We met at the farmer's market.
Yes.
Would you like a flyer for today?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you.
There's one more man.
How you doing?
How are you? How are you?
Did you get one of these?
You said, did I get one?
She was giving them away. They're in the back.
Oh, okay, I'll get one. Okay. Is that gentleman still coming to do the public comment, or did he just want me to read it?
Good evening.
You can read it because I called him and told him if he wanted to, he could, but if not, he doesn't have to be.
Okay.
But there would be a time he would come before us. Appreciate that. Eric Contreras.
Contreras. No, you can handle it though. It's your area of expertise. Mm-hmm. I'm tired. I'm ready to retire. Jesus Christ, boy. I ain't never seen nothing like it.
Summer program almost over, right?
It's almost, but some other stuff is just yes. Thinking about it. You're thinking about doing it year round. So that's it. Be done year round. Maybe a STEM class. Mm-hmm. Where you going, bro?
Just
Thank you.
say you might as well try.
Yeah, yeah.
I did.
So now, if you need, so we can check.
Okay, good. Heat it.
Commissioner John.
Hey, boy, how's it going? Good to see you.
Good evening. The Board of Commissioners meeting for the town of Princeville is now called to order on this Monday, August 15th, 2022 at 7:00 p.m. Got some feedback. Where's the feedback coming from?
Turn it down. You guys muted?
Thank you so much. Can you still hear me?
May I have to pull your mic down a little bit?
We ask
Ask
everyone
everyone
to
to
please
please
mute your
mute
phone.
your phone.
Is everyone else muted?
Everyone, please mute your
Shut
phone.
it down.
Just have to stay muted now.
Or it might be too close to mine.
We ask Commissioner Jones to please lead us in an opening prayer.
Let us pray. Most gracious, all wise, and eternal God, again we come boldly before your presence. God, we thank you for the privilege of prayer. We thank you for the power of prayer. Then, God, we thank you for the invitation which you've extended to us, telling us to come boldly to the throne of grace in the time of need. God, as we stand before your presence, we thank you in that another 30 days have passed, and God, you kept us by your grace and by your mercy. And for that, God, we are appreciative.
Thank you.
Now, God, as we assemble here in this meeting room, God, we pray for wisdom. We pray for strength. We pray for courage to do what is right and good for all of the citizens. God, I pray that we put the interests of others above our own. And then, God, may we act with love for the common good for everybody. And may we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. For God, we realize that there's no person that we will ever come into contact with that you don't love. And we thank you for that, oh God. And God, we thank you again for this council. God, we thank you for our mayor. And God, I thank you for my fellow colleagues. God, search our hearts. For God, we are determined to do what is right as it relates to the town of Princeville.
Yes.
Our ultimate goal, oh God, is to move forward. And in the midst of, oh God, of dividing conflict, oh God, bring us together as one.
Yes.
Unite us on our commonalities that we may continue to move forward. Bless everyone that's here. And then, God, take charge of this meeting. In
Yes.
Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
And please forgive me, Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem.
It's all right. It's all right.
All right. Public comments?
The first public comment is from Miss Delia Perkins.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Delia Perkins, 123 Neville Street, Princeville, and I'm the former mayor of Princeville for 2 terms. I have just read the small print, and I had to get my glasses out, but I will adhere to that this time. I would like, Mr. Mayor and board, if you all would consider having a meeting with a small group of citizens so that we might ask some questions and get some answers. When we come to the meeting, it's very hard to get an answer. Last month, I asked some questions and I was told that I would get a written answer in 10 days. It's been 30 days. I have not received it. So tonight, I'm asking for the sake of unity for the town of Princeville, Board, if you will grant a small group of us the opportunity to sit down, to talk to you, to ask some questions. I see that the Army Corps of Engineers are supposed to be here. Those of us that have been through 2 floods would love to have the opportunity to talk face to face and let them know how much we've lost in these years and how long it's taken them to keep us from losing again. I would wish that the board would convey those thoughts to the Army Corps of Engineers. If they're online now, I hope they hear me and that they will conduct themselves accordingly. I asked several months ago about the ditches. I have not gotten an answer back. I would like to have an answer back.
Thank you.
I will adhere to it this time, but we're not sure.
Thank you so much, Ms. Perkins. Next.
The next public comment was written in from Eric Contreras. He stated, I am a longtime resident of Edgecombe County, residing and operating Latino Body Shop for the past 20 years, located at 1055 U.S. Highway 258 North. After a recent back injury, it was recommended by physicians that I should not continue to perform the hard physical labor. I would like to continue working in the automobile business, either selling used cars or detailing automobiles. I am very interested in occupying the vacant lot adjacent to the Princeville Town Hall in the vicinity of the traffic signal. At your convenience, I would like to counsel with the decision makers seeking the means and ways to acquire this piece of property. I patiently await to hear your further decisions as it applies to my proposal. Thank you all in advance for the time rendered in reviewing my request.
So much.
That's all for public comments.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, we'd like to introduce our new town attorney from Fields and Cooper out of Nashville, Tennessee, Nashville, North Carolina.
Yeah, just real short and sweet right now. I'm Ryan King. I'm from Fields and Cooper. I should be here probably every month. So I'm excited to get started working with the town. We're out of Nashville, North Carolina. We're also out of Rocky Mount. I'm in the Rocky Mount office. One of the other attorneys I work with who might be here when I am not here for any reason would be Mark Edwards. He is from the Nashville office. One of us will be here at every meeting. We're excited to be working with the town.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, coronavirus testing. Optimus serve Monday and Wednesday from 9 to 12 p.m. at Heritage Park, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Edgecombe County residents, ARPA funds, county CIP. Again, if anybody's in need of assistance, there's an application process you have to go through for the town of Princeville and or Edgecombe County. And we have that information, I think it was out front. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about that, just call the town hall. They give you further instructions. The next Princeville Farmers Market is August the 27th from 10 until 2. Spotlight ad deadline is August the 22nd. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Mayor, I would ask the board to consider an adjustment to the agenda, removing from the manager's report number 4.
there a motion?
And placing it, excuse me, sir,
Okay.
if you don't mind, placing it under presentation number 1. It'll be very short and brief because we do have the director here on this evening.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The probably moved and second that we remove number 4 on the town manager report and put it under the presentation number 3. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
The next adjustment, board, I would humbly ask if we could add budget amendment. It was an oversight with the financial report under reports.
Under town manager report.
Under your regular reports, department reports, number 1. Right behind budget versus actual, if we could add budget amendment.
Okay. Under department reports.
Yes.
Okay, budget amendment number 7, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The probably moved and second that we add budget amendment number 7 under department reports. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Last but definitely not least, if you can add under manager's report number 4, HMGP elevation.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The probably moved and second that we add HMGP on the elevation number 4 on the town manager report. Any questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Any additional adjustments?
Yes, sir. Under new business, Mayor, if we may add GFL environmental, it's number 2.
On the new business. And where is new business?
13.
Okay,
Tight.
number 2. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been probably moved and second that we add GFL on the new business. Number 2, are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. And additional?
And one last thing, 3 on the new business, if we may add waiver of liability, it's new business, number 3.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been probably moved and second that we add on the new business number 3, waiver of liability. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. And additional adjustments. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with necessary adjustments?
So moved.
Second.
Been probably moved and second that we approve the agenda with the necessary adjustments. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been probably moved and second that we approve the consent agenda. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. On the presentation, United States Army Corps of Engineers.
First, Mayor, if we could have the voting on Ms. Tina Braswell.
Okay.
of Planning Department.
And that's the E911?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As Dr. Knight stated, I'm Katina Braswell, Edgecombe County Planning Director, and I'd like to review the process of E911 addressing and emphasize the importance of posting your address. With Enhanced 911, emergency calls are automatically sent to the proper dispatch center, along with the phone number and address of the caller. This allows dispatchers to know where the call has originated, even if the caller is unable to speak. It is crucial that you post your address in order to be located, whether you call from your home phone or your cell phone. Citizens of Princeville should have received those address notification letters back in March of 2014. It did detail the requirements of posting your address, but just as a reminder, numbers should be at least 4 inches in height and in contrast to the color of the home. If your house or business is not visible from the road, your address would need to be posted at the address, and those markers should also be in contrasting colors. Your address must be posted even if you have a P.O. box. The United States Postal Service requires that addresses also be displayed on your mailbox. Those numbers must be at least 1 inch in height. You can post those on the front or the side of your mailbox. If it's a cluster mailbox, we just ask that you post those on the front of the mailbox. Again, I want to emphasize the importance of posting your address. When you call 911, we want to make sure that you can be located. And in order to do that, again, 4 inch numbers on your home, 1 inch numbers on your mailbox. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, now you said it came out in 2014.
Yes.
Will there be an update?
No, I recently received a request from Dr. Knight wanting an address update. That originally this was done in 2014. I'm not sure what caused the it was the FEMA, I think, the elevation process.
Okay.
And there was some questions about the address. So I did send her that same listing that was done in 2014. But if anyone has any questions about your address, you need address verification, you can stop by our office. We're on the second floor of the County Administration Building, room 205, or you can give us a call at 252-641-7802.
Do you know if we're at 100% compliance?
I don't know for sure, but I doubt it.
Okay.
To be honest, just in our inspectors, sometimes our inspectors go out and they do have issues locating some of the homes because the address is not posted or it's not legible. So
Okay.
it is important to post your address.
So as a town, a municipality, we need to be going out to our citizens to make sure they have the E911 address.
Yes, that is extremely important. And I know there's some remodeling going on in the town. That is one of the requirements in order to receive a certificate of occupancy. The address does need to be posted.
Now, does it cause any confusion when we have our Tarboro addresses in Princeville?
It does not, because the E911 Communication Center, if they receive a call, they know whether it's actually located in Tarboro versus Princeville. It will go to the correct dispatch center.
Okay. Other questions from the board?
Do you have a resource available that will allow citizens to have their numerical address posted that is reflective? Under Edgecombe County Rescue Squad, before that agency was dissolved,
Yes.
they used to make those as a fundraiser, but being under the umbrella of the county, you can't do that anymore. Do you have a resource available?
As far as the numbers for your home, we recommend you purchase those at Lowe's, but the green signs with the white numbers, which I think that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
I do have a contact, Mr. Richard Tolston. He can be reached at 252-446-1874. The name of that business is Tolston Signs, and he also posts the county road signs for us, but he does signs as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Ms. Braswell.
Thank you.
Appreciate the information.
I also have brochures if anyone would like those. I'll leave those with Dr. Knight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Knight, are we ready for Army Corps of Engineers?
So, Mayor, the Army Corps of Engineers would like to defer their time to September to give them time to finalize some unresolved outcomes.
Okay. Coastlines and people?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tara Nikik, and I'm the Community and Program Coordinator for the Coastlines and People Project. Thank you for this opportunity to provide feedback on our Community Water Corps program that we had this summer. It was pretty successful. We had 2 interns, Eliza Bister, a student at ECU, and Kendra Jackson, a student from Chowan University that's joining us online. Unfortunately, the screen is blank right now, but Eliza is going to tell us a little bit about what they did this summer. Oh,
Hello, I'm Eliza, and what we and our participants did this summer was create an app that could be a one-stop source for all water quality and quantity issues. We did get a lot of feedback about the app in a local farmers market that we participated in. I met a lot of you there. You guys were all wonderful. Thank you so much for providing feedback. So what we just decided to do with this app was that we wanted this app to kind of like tell all the water quantity and water level issues that are kind of what the water quality and quantity issues are in Princeville. So this app can kind of like so in this app will include like pH, temperature, all of that, and hopefully we can kind of we can make it very accessible. We're making it extremely user friendly so that all of the Princeville residents are able to get onto it. And we also hope to what's the word? We can also hope to work with the town of Princeville so we can kind of set up an automated message or a call system so that we can warn the citizens of Princeville that there will be flooding or major rain issues or storm issues before it happens. So that is what we hope to do. To be able to access the app, we'll post it in the town of Princeville, and you guys will just be able to scan the QR code, and you will have access to it on the tips of your fingertips. Yeah, sorry.
thank you. Any questions?
When do you say this will go into effect?
No pause.
Excuse me, can you repeat
When did you
that?
say it will go into effect? When did you say that this will go into effect, or is it already?
So right now they're busy developing the proposal and looking at different platforms that will be feasible. That's going to make it accessible to the community. So we're busy with developing a beta version with our water course students at ECU. And right now we hoping to develop something on S3, the ArcGIS program that's going to make it easily accessible, like Lisa said. So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have that beta version sorted.
So do you have an alternative for people who are not tech savvy?
Yes, we do. We talked about hopefully partnering with the automated call system in Princeville so that they could sign up for it via their landline and they can just get automatic phone calls through that.
Other questions from the board? Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, we have the finance report. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Public Works, questions?
Mayor,
Yes.
under the finance report, can I please bring your attention to the budget amendment so that we can get a vote to amend the budget?
Do we have it? Okay,
Yes, It was
Coming around.
emailed to you as well.
okay.
So the first budget amendment on June 24th, 2022, the town received FEMA funding for PW 84, which is the town hall, in the amount of $507,246.27. The previous budget amount was $692,224.70. This now brings the amount to $1,199,470.97. And would like to make sure we make the proper adjustment to account for the funds that came in under PW 84. Secondly, On July 26th, the town received ARP funding in the amount of $306,905.64. The previous amount budgeted was $283,862.97. Added the amount that we just received brings that total to $590,768.61. We would ask that the necessary adjustments be made to account for the amount that was recently received. And last but definitely not least, the previous budget amount for the power bill totaled $72,482.42. And we did not account for the salaries for FY 2021-2022, which was $11,147,093. So now this brings that line item to $61,334.53. Want to make sure that we capture that in the budget.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that the adjustments be approved so that we can have accurate, reflect the funds that came in.
Second.
Then probably moving second that we approve the 2022-2023 budget amendment message. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Public Works. Questions, comments? Okay. Historic Outreach Coordinator. Let me just commend Ms. Dew on her diligence on the farmer's market. It was another successful venture on Saturday. Not too hot, good participation, and great food. Senior Center. No questions on the Senior Center? Okay.
What's the next activity?
The next activity for the senior center will be the senior center prom that will take place on this Saturday, starting at 6:00 p.m., ending at 9:00 p.m.
Okay. Ms. Knight, are you going to do an update in your manager report pertaining to the senior citizen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to tell them about this special guest coming Saturday night.
So the special guest will be the Honorable Mayor Bobby Jones.
Tell them what my task is.
His task would be the announcement of all of the prestigious citizens who will be attending from the senior center and their guests.
Commissioner Linda Joyner and
Commissioner Linda Joyner will be the mistress of ceremony. Mayor Pro Tem Alvin Jones will oblige us with prayer and probably do a solo.
Oh, wow.
And any other commissioner that so desired to be a part of this event, we welcome each and every one of you. Any tasks that you feel that you would be interested in carrying out, please do so. We really need your support for this event.
Is this just for the attendance, just for the senior citizens that are members, or can it be?
Yeah, right now it's for the senior citizens who are registered with the program, and as we prepare for 2023, we'll open it up for all seniors.
Okay.
so the Golden Platter's not singing?
So we left that to his discretion.
Okay. Okay.
If he so desired.
All right.
Thank you for the consideration, though, Doc.
Yes, sir. Love to hear you sing.
Pass.
Okay. Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office. Questions, comments, concerns? Princeville Volunteer Fire Department.
Mayor.
Yes.
I did reach out to Captain Williams per your concern about the number of activities in the community. He said that they're still under investigation, and he would humbly ask the board to encourage all citizens to report information and keep in mind that they can remain anonymous, and it makes it easier to conclude investigations when they get the information from the citizens.
Okay. Thank you so much. We did the budget amendment already, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now we move to Town Manager's Report, Senior Center.
So with the senior center report, I did speak with the construction administrator, Frankie, today, and the plumbers were on site on Friday to conclude the design for the sub pump. It should be complete this week. I will follow up via email in my manager's report with the update when they come out this week so that we can get the inspection done on the elevator and get that operating for the senior citizens in the day-to-day operation.
How's the phone system? Is that up yet?
So the phone system is not up yet. We will follow up with them to see where we are with the work order. The work order was put in, and we are still waiting to hear back from the agency.
And that's Lumen, correct?
Yes, Lumen.
Questions, board?
Yes, sir. I'd like to have add something to the situation at the center. I took it upon myself to go up in the loft while the gentleman was up there working on the air condition, the holding pan. The holding pan is holding water and is shortening out the electric system. They have been out without air for 3 times. And I think we need to stay on that, Dr. Knight, because evidently it was some error in the designing, which we all know. But we need to look at that because it was pretty hot. And I don't know what's going to happen during the wintertime if that's going to affect the current.
It sure will. Is that a part of the work order?
We have been working with Bernie and Bernie. They are very aware of the HVAC system and what they need to do to rectify the situation so that we can sustain an operating unit throughout the year. So we're working closely with Bernie and Bernie.
Yeah, I went up in the loft a few weeks ago, and the thing that retains the water is so small. A cup full will be enough to knock that unit off. So I question the design of it as well.
Yeah, that's what they're working on currently, and realize that that is just too much of a small space to retain the water that comes out of that unit.
Yes.
I'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
Okay, Heritage Park.
So Heritage Park, we thought that we could start renting out the building, but when I went over and did an assessment, we still have some really large items inside of the facility. So when Conservation Trust of North Carolina was working with the youth, we still have a lot of things for the park. When the equipment comes in for the playground and also for the fitness area. So we probably will give it about another month or two before we can actually remove those items from that space to make it in a position that we can rent it out. And then again, I want to highlight the farmers market. It went exceptionally well again on Saturday, and I do agree, Mayor, kudos to Kelsey Dew for leading, and also to the staff for sacrificing their Saturday to be out there to make sure that we're covered with the farmers market. And we're working towards volunteers. Kelsey is working with Conservation Trust for an AmeriCorps, the same position that she held me several months back, so that we can get some volunteers to come in and occupy that space, because we're looking at the overhead, and now the overhead exceeds the amount that the town actually brings in for the farmers market. And I did capture that quickly. I did capture that in a spreadsheet to bring to your attention. And so our first farmers market was on 7/9, and so we were able to bring in $286. Our overhead was $146. On 7/23, we were able to bring in $493, where we still went in the red with our overhead of $413. And this past farmers market, we were able to bring in $259, but that included a one-on-one payment for the remaining of the season that was paid by one of the vendors, so that put us in the green surplus.
So Dr. Knight, is Ms. Dew doing things to try to increase the revenue, and some of the vendors that have been coming? Are they repeat vendors, or do we have new vendors? And we've been able to kind of highlight or denote exactly what vendors we're looking for.
Yeah, she does excellent promotion. We join her with our social media page. She sends out emails, and so she's out in the community promoting and soliciting for new vendors, and also going back and have conversations with the repeat vendors. And we also now have a farmers market feedback form that will go into circulation at the next farmers market, so that we can get some feedback and know what's working, areas of improvement in preparation for the permanent farmers market.
And so also the fee that we're charging, I don't know if whether or not that is in compliance with other former markets or pop up shops or whatever.
It is.
It is.
We did our preliminary research with all farmers market, Rocky Mount, Raleigh, all farmers market, and Roanoke Rapids, just to do a comparison. So before we actually started our pop-up farmers market, we utilized what they were already doing and just kind of recycle the guidelines and the fees that they were already in place.
Okay. Thank you.
I got a question. On the difference of 146 and 413, is there any reason why we giving them gifts?
Just for promotion, another promotion strategy.
Other questions? And I know we don't want to go into the business of losing money, but one of the other positive things that this brings out is getting people out of the house, coming down, and addressing that mental health challenge that we're dealing with. So I think it's a positive thing. We're not losing a lot of money, so I think it's a good thing. Other questions, comments?
Yes, Dr. Knight, stepping back into Heritage Park. I was on the phone with Mr. Earl Imes, who works with North Carolina Historical as well as Conservation. He's mentioned that he wanted to be in on the trees. This particular tree in North Carolina, the longleaf pine, is a very special tree, not for its significance, but what its quality and what it does to the soil. And he brought it to my attention that being where we are, close to the river, we need to plant the longleaf pine prior to any other tree because of its strength and depth to hold the soil. Just putting a tree to be putting a tree, it isn't a good thing. So we need to investigate the longleaf pine that he wants to put in here. And he has a longleaf pine farm, and he wants to be involved in our plans to put trees and where to put them.
And I don't think they would go along Main Street, though. I think they are huge, if I'm not
You want to
mistaken.
put them by the levee
Okay.
so it could hold and strengthen the levee just in case Army Corps of Engineers don't kick the ball through the goalposts.
Okay.
Last question, Mayor. To the town manager, what was the status of the water leak at Heritage Park? We got an update.
It's been rectified. They put the cover over and it's working perfectly fine.
So we put like a protective barrier around as well.
Not a protective barrier, but a protective cover over the actual piping.
Okay.
And to Commissioner Milton Bullock's recommendation with Imes, I can connect him with NC State because they're already doing that preliminary research and they will have boots on the ground this month. And so I'm sure that they would be interested in partnering and hear more information about how that could serve as a resolution for Heritage Park
Yes.
and the ongoing water flow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions on Heritage Park? Okay, 53 acres.
So 53 acres, as you are well aware, the town did receive an announcement to be the recipients of the BRIC grant, which is a $10 million grant. Other funds will be supplemented through the CDBG-DR, which would be very good for us to move forward with the phase one with the 53 acres. And we were fortunate enough for Wooten and Associates, namely Derek and Will, to send a letter of support to Winston-Salem Housing Authority. They are in pursuit of a housing public grant to bridge the gap for Pioneer Court to go into 53 acres. So we're hoping that a competitive bid can go out this year and construction can start this year. So that's some very exciting news for the 53 acres.
Absolutely.
And also
It
Stewart
is,
working
right.
on the zoning for that area.
So the $10 million is only good for the phase one?
Was
Wow.
good for the 53 acres,
Right.
but primarily we put into that application process for Pioneer Court to be included.
So Dr. Knight, with the housing that is that will be put on the 53 acres through the housing authority, would they select the housing type, or would that be something that we'll do? How is that going to be done?
It'll be a decision of the board.
Okay.
They'll present the designs to the board and we make a decision from that.
Okay. Thank you.
And
How many
stated-
units would that be?
54, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And you stated the $10 million grant was given by the brick grant.
Building infrastructures and communities.
Okay.
Resilient. Don't forget the R.
Building,
Resilient.
resiliency, infrastructure, communities.
Yep.
You're exactly right, Mayor. Thank you.
I'm always right there. What are you talking about?
You need some help.
Other questions on the 53?
Yes.
Let's hope News River Times capture this.
Tar?
Let's hope Tar River Times capture this.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm surprised they didn't want to do an announcement. Okay. HMGP elevation.
So HMGP, we will have a presentation from North Carolina Emergency Management, but I wanted to remind the citizens, I have done a calling post that they will be on site tomorrow at the county building at the auditorium, meeting with all citizens who were approved for the elevation project. Their hours of on-site will be from 9 to 1 and from 4 to 7. So if there's any citizens who were approved for the elevation project, please make sure you make your way over there tomorrow at the county building. They'll start at 9 and they'll have time frames from 9 to 1 and from 4 to 7 to provide updates on the HMGP process. And if citizens don't remember whether or not they were approved, please don't hesitate to call us first thing in the morning. We do have a listing of those that were approved, and I have a listing with you this evening if you want to stick around to see if your address was included.
Did you give us a copy of those that were approved
I did.
by ward?
I just gave you the entire list, probably 2 or 3 meetings ago. We'll give you another listing this evening.
Do you know whether,
It was in executive.
Oh, it's under the executive session.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question. Do you know how they were notified? Because I spoke with some citizens and they found out at the last minute. And I understand that some of them did go on the calling post, but was there any way else this was advertised
Just call the post.
on the calling post? And then in the same token, it was at the last minute, not giving them enough ample time to prepare just in case they had something else to do. And I'm just giving feedback from the community. They need to kind of do a little bit better in coordinating the time frame and well in advance.
Yeah, I agree, but because this is a very urgent matter, citizens have been waiting for 6 years, and now they're getting ready to go into phase 1 of construction. Citizens have been notified. The kickoff was supposed to take place on June 1st with the construction of the elevations, and now we're in the month of August. And so we wanted to kind of move forward and have this meeting available. There will be a deferred appointment date and time after the 16th. And so citizens will be notified, and we'll create flyers and any other means. And also you want to use our kiosks outside to make that same announcement for the citizens.
Dr. Knight, do those citizens have case managers that were assigned to them, or how is it? Who would they just be asking questions or talking to specific case managers, or what? How is that
So
done?
as you can recall, the county served as the administrator over our recovery project. And when we were in the temporary location, they had a whole department across the hall from our municipality location. And so they had case managers at that time that was managing all of the different options for the recovery, the reconstruction, the acquisition, and the elevation. And so they were sustaining communication with all citizens at that time. And so since that department has dissolved, and now the state has taken a state-centric approach, meaning that they will hold complete responsibility of the recovery process, which would be a benefit to this municipality because we are a small municipality and we just do not have the internal infrastructure to carry carry out the enormous task of these projects. And so this is a step in them being the state centrics of the recovery project and meeting with the citizens, actually meeting with you all this evening so that you can get your questions answered as it relates to where we are, where we're going, and what's the time frame of us getting there so that the citizens can be kept up to date and we can kind of move this project forward, just like with the acquisition, just like with the reconstruction. So I commend you all for having those meetings in a temporary location with the reconstruction. It's because of you advocating for the citizens that 2 reconstructions have been completed in the town of Princeville. One complete and one is almost completed. I say in about a few weeks one will be completed. So we'll take that same momentum with the elevation to ensure that they move forward with this project.
Thank you.
And I think what Commissioner Joyner said is critical because we want to make sure that our citizens understand what they're talking about when they get there. So an advocate would go along with them would be ideal. Do they have contractors already?
Do they have to?
Contractors?
So they do have, the bid went out probably a month ago, and to my recall, there were 3 submissions of bids, and so they're having the discussion around one of the proposed vendor, but just trying to negotiate some prices that have absolutely changed since 2018.
I know at one particular time, because of the number of houses, it was possible that we could have more than one contractor so we can finish up earlier and get people back in their homes. Is that a possibility?
Those are the type of questions I would encourage
Okay.
you to propose on this evening.
Okay. And another thing that I found out with some of our people that are being elevated now, they are told to move out, but they don't start until maybe 6 months later, and that's not good. I know they may pay for your hotels and all that stuff, but nobody want to be out of their home for 6 months.
Agreed.
And that is another question that we need to pose to them, whether they are paying for um, citizens that are being displaced, because I've had a citizen who told me that she was not.
She was supposed to.
Okay.
We
Somebody
will
need to
double
reimburse
check.
her.
Yeah.
Those are excellent questions that I would strongly encourage you to propose on this evening with the experts so that you can have answers for citizens who may approach you in your ward that is on the elevation listing.
Other questions on elevation? Okay, shared use.
Shared use, so we did have an opportunity, Chelsea did go over to the county and attend the training for the August 10th shared use agreement, and you'll be getting more information as we get the slides, but it kind of breaks down what the shared use is all about. It's just a collaborative effort with other partners in the community and sharing your resources, just cutting prices in the most effective way. So you'll get more information as we find out more information on how to be a part of this shared use agreement. And this was the first training, so we'll continue to stay engaged.
Question from the board?
Yes, sir. Mayor, you and I spoke a little bit about the sidewalks. I think you concentrating on the school. I'm talking with Mr. Clark Jenkins, used to be with DOT, and I'm telling him that we're getting some activity in Heritage Park, and that highway is state property, and we need to get a booster or some kind of help to put down sidewalks so that those kids will be safer crossing that light going to the park. And so I just wanted to give you a report on that. I'm going to meet with him and see if he can help us get some concrete laying down on the side of that highway.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
As that relates to that, you do know, and as a friendly reminder, that NC State is also working in harmony with the town to pursue a grant that they mentioned the last time that they were here, Professor Fox, as it relates to the sidewalk. So if we can work in collaboration, I think that would be very valuable for everyone's time.
It's for the school, right?
For the school and for Heritage Park to cover that tourist area from the Heritage Park walking trail to the museum to Heritage Park, and also where the school is from the school to Bridgers. So that, they mentioned that the last time that they were here, and we'll follow up with Professor Fox when he's here and his team is here this month.
Is Neville Street involved with that in planned of action?
I don't think so. But I'll get the answers from Professor Fox.
Because we need to put that in there if it's not in there.
Neville Street.
Yes.
I'll inquire with him.
Other questions on shared use? Okay, the attorney's report, transportation waiver.
I apologize, personally, this might, maybe should have been done when we were changing the agenda. In the interest of the attorney-client privilege between myself and the town, at least for this meeting, so I get a better grasp on what everybody up there is going to say potentially. I think all of these should be handled in closed session.
Okay.
If you want to just slide it, it looks like you have a closed session at the end. I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay. 1 through 5.
Yes, one
Okay.
of them.
Is there a motion from the board?
I make second.
Been properly moved and second that we move the attorney report to closed session. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Okay, old business, ARP funds, adjustments, and housing guidelines and application.
Mayor, I apologize. Can we please go back to Heritage Park and look at the rental agreement? I did have an opportunity to meet with Captain Williams as it relates to law enforcement, and his recommendation was that we can remove this from our agreement to save the person, whoever rents some funds, because they're already in the community, and I would just need to communicate with whoever that person is on site to make them aware that an event is carrying out at the senior center, and when it's time to close out, that they would make their way over there to make sure that everything closed out safely. And also, just as a team, we were discussing, do you want to extend the time to 11, or do you want to keep it at the time that it currently is?
And what page are you looking at?
I'm looking at page. I'm trying to see where is our time. It's probably on the first.
I think it's on the first page.
E.
E.
Yep.
Yep.
It was originally 8 to 9.
8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And now we want 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
It's at the discretion of the board, but it would give people who had an event a little longer in the facility and a safe time of 11 p.m. and we could still have service in the community at that time.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So that could include cleanup time and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a few other
So
things on
let
it.
me be clear. So if it ends at 11, they get an hour before to set up and an hour after to clean up. So it would conclude at midnight.
Okay.
Commissioner Meyer, you have questions?
Yes, I have a question in reference to the organization. We put up there that they are paying $100 for 3 hours, but we have nothing in reference to a deposit fee for them. Is they not required to pay a deposit fee as well?
Yeah, the deposit fee is included.
This one, I don't see a deposit fee. All the rest of them.
On page 2 under D.
And it's the same deposit fee for everybody, right?
Mhm.
Okay, versus citizens versus non-citizens.
Okay, and the other one, for number 3, we got that there could be at least 68 in the room, but number of occupant allowed for the kitchen is 1. Is that a fire code, or this is something that we just saying that there can only be 1 person in the kitchen?
This was per the engineer's outcome who designed the building. This is the occupancy outcome from the engineers.
Well, I think we probably need to look at what the fire code states.
It was crossed with all collaborative partners, and that was the outcome for the facility. That it was the certificate of occupancy was granted for the facility, and this is what was included in the certificate of occupancy, how many can occupy the building, and that would align with the fire code. Is that correct, Chief?
Chief not here.
Oh.
Assistant Chief, Assistant Chief.
So it was a collaborative effort, so this was already included into the final design with the occupancy of the building.
Well, let's see what Assistant Chief, are you,
That's something you probably have to reflect
Yeah, see if we can get, thank you. Yeah,
Do you have a
Miss,
certificate that's hanging in the building?
We do.
Oh, perfect. That should do it. The certificate that's hanging in the building should
is it
list
gonna
how
say
many.
occupant of the
Yes,
entire building, or is
yes,
it gonna
sir.
just say kitchen?
Yes, sir. Occupancy for the entire
Have you
building.
seen that, sir?
I have not, but that's what it would show.
Well, if you don't know, I mean, we
No,
need
no,
to know for
you're
facts.
asking. I said that's what our occupancy will show.
I
She said it's over
understand
there in
that,
the building,
right?
and it will show for the entire building.
But we need to know for sure what I'm saying.
It's in the building. It's in
It's
a
in the
frame.
building?
It's
Perfect.
framed in the building. And it's in 2 locations, in the kitchen and in the community, large community.
So you have
As
seen
required
that
by
as
law.
well, that it said one for the kitchen?
That's exactly.
Okay.
It's in the location. You're more than welcome to go over.
Okay, I just want to make sure because, I mean, if it's not, we need to address and correct the rental
Yeah,
agreement.
that's why we put it in here, so we want to make sure that whoever rented the building was very familiar with what the occupancy is for the building, so they will not exceed the occupancy. We didn't have it in there initially, but as we met as a team, we realized that it was not noted in here, and it's very important to have it within this agreement.
Thank you.
Additional questions?
And also, Mayor, while I have your attention, my apology, I'm going through this report. Also, with your Heritage Park facility fees, this is in the agenda again, in case you all want to take a second look and make any necessary adjustments for the fees, or if you want to keep the fees the same as we prepare for renting out the facility once the larger items are removed from inside the facility.
We need a vote to change the rental agreement?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Let me ask one other question,
Okay.
Mayor, so we can get some clarity. So for the organization, they going to be considered non-citizen?
For the organizations, nonprofit versus profit is how the board voted.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I do not see a deposit fee for them. We got security deposit fee, Princeville citizen $75, non-citizen $150. Security deposit must be paid 30 days before the event. So there's nothing that relates to organization as a deposit.
No, there was no deposit put on organization, only for people who were renting for events. But for the 3-hour organization for nonprofit versus private, there was no deposit fee for those particular organizations. And that was per the board's vote.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. I may not be up on it, but I like to know for sure if I have to do some investigating myself. Is the center fully covered, insured?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Other questions? Is the motion to approve the amended contract?
Based on the hours or
Yeah,
operation?
removing law enforcement requirement and extending the hours.
So move. Second.
Probably moving second that we approve the rental agreement adjustments. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Okay. Now with ARP funds.
ARP funds, at our last meeting, the board voted for the obligation of the ARP funds, and we did find that the amounts were not accurate as far as the remaining amounts were repaired. And so our clerk was kind enough to give you a spreadsheet so that you can review it again on this evening. And if you need to make any necessary adjustments based upon the accurate amount for the ARP fund.
Questions from the board?
I have a question that still relates to the money that we wanted to donate to the fire department. I looked at the figures and it was 525, that's 30, but we had a total of 38.5. Also, did we get any information from that source saying that we can donate that money to the fire department?
So according to the COG, it's at the board's discretion whether or not you contribute those funds for operating expenses for the Princeville Volunteer Fire Department.
So that's in writing.
That's a call that I made to the COG. And they sent in writing the summary from when they were here, and also you have in writing from when Jamila Hawkins were here, they gave you guys some specific guidelines and categories to select from to make your decision about obligating the funds.
I sent an email in reference to you, providing that information and documentation. We kind of need that so that it will cover us if that's the case. I understand it's a board decision, but I'd rather see something in documentation.
They're not gonna, Commissioner, they won't tell you what to do with the funds specifically. They will continue to forward to us the categories to operate and make decisions from the categories that were submitted in the guidelines for the ARP funds. And then it would be at the discretion of the board to utilize those areas of, detailed description on whether or not you want to obligate to different areas. No one that I've talked to will say specifically, do this, do that. But every time that I've called someone, they send me the exact same thing back with the guidelines and the categories, and encourage the board to make their decisions based upon those categories for the ARP funds.
Okay, I just want to reflect the records that it was asked and that it was noted. Thank you.
Other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, new business.
But you have to make a decision because you don't have the 87,000 that you thought that you had with the new balance. Right now you have your new balance being $596,987.28. Per the board's vote, you put there's 73,000 in budgeted salaries. That gives a grand total that includes the taxes and with the custodian of $103,400. The board voted $306,000 to go to education, $100,000 to the farmers market, $38,500 to the Princeville Volunteer Fire Department, leaving a grand total of $445,000.64, which gives you the remaining balance of that $48,000 towards household repairs, and that just may not capture what's needed. So that's the reason why it's before the board needed to see if you would like to make an adjustments from the previous vote. If so, then you would have to rescind that vote and make a new vote if you find that that's what you so desire to do on this evening.
I think it's imperative that we do so. We need to invest in the citizens here. $48,000 is not it. So it would be my recommendation that we take, I just did the calculation here, if we would take $101,000, $101,818.36 added to the 181,164 for a total of $150,000 for repairs. We move that from education to for household repairs. And I think it's imperative because anyone now can get a degree for free. Edgecombe Community College are begging people they will literally give you a degree for free. So I say we take $101,818.36 added to the $48,181.64 for a total of $150,000 for household repairs.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I would like to suggest that in doing that, we need to still pause and reevaluate where that money combined. We need to look at that a little closer.
Which money is now?
The money that he's suggesting that we combine.
Okay. And he's saying take it away from education and put it into household repairs.
100.
Your home repairs, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Mayor, I would like to add, Ms. Knight, there was no check detail for the custodian. Oh, he's still aboard. Can we make and use this $23,400 also somewhere?
We always need custodians. If he's still aboard, and he is included in the
He just in,
So now it's coming from your ARP funds. Is the ARP funds captured in the check detail?
Should be.
And also, yeah, he's still aboard, and it would be necessary to sustain his work here with the town, that role here with the town.
so do we not need this money? Well, you said it's in the ARP at 23. So we were paying him first through our budget, from our budget, correct?
And we're paying him through the state legislative fund.
State.
No, it don't capture it. It's just from the general.
So we'll make sure that we capture the ARP in the check detail.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we take,
Did you rescind your last vote at the last meeting first? Is that necessary, Attorney? So if you could rescind the last vote, that when the figures were not accurate.
Resend the previous.
yes. So I make a motion that we rescind the last vote regarding the education funds.
Can you give me that amount again, Commissioner Jones? I got most of it.
Could you just rescind the budget for the ARP funds?
Yes, I make a motion that we rescind the motion for the ARP funds.
Second.
Been properly moved and second that we rescind the previous vote for the ARP funds. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Okay.
Right, now make a motion that we take $101,818.36 and add it to the $48,181.64 for the household repairs, and we'll move that money from the education fund.
Got it.
Second.
Been properly moved and second that we take $101,818.36 from the education fund and apply it to the household repair. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much.
And I want to be clear, Mayor, that the balance should show $150,000 because we're adding the 48 to that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. New business?
Mayor, before you depart, we do need a vote on the rehabilitation guidelines and applications for that rehab project. And this came directly from the Down East Consortium. We just kind of tweaked it a little bit for the town of Princeville. And thank you so much for your recommendations with the grammatical errors. We did take care of that.
Thank you so much. Everybody got a chance to read through the guidelines? What's the pleasure of the board?
Take a look at it. What is it that we're asking for this? We're asking about this. What is it that we want to?
We want to use that.
If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
You know, I make a motion that we accept the rehabilitation guidelines that are.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Been probably moved and second that we approve the rehabilitation guidelines. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Anything else before we move to new business?
That's it, Mayor.
Okay. 139th Founders Day resolution.
138, I think that's the typo.
Okay.
Founders Day, we're preparing for the 138th Founders Day celebration September the 20th. And what you have before you is resolutions that we will send out to various partners and key stakeholders in the community of Edgecombe County that will include Edgecombe County School System, that will include Edgecombe County, the city of Rocky Mount, the prep school, and Edgecombe Community College. And so I hope that you've had time to review them so that we can send them out and that their board will have an opportunity to review it and partner with the town in celebration and preparation for our Founders Day in 2023.
Does it need to be read?
If you so desire.
Is it required?
No.
Okay, it's not required. What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that the Founders Day resolution be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been probably moved and second that the 138th Founders Day resolutions be approved. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Number 2, GFL, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, sir. GFL Environmental is who the town is contracted with to take care of all our sanitation. GFL has demonstrated an habitual habit of not picking up sanitation, particularly in my ward, Ward 4. I rode through a few days ago in Ward 4, and there are approximately 22 residents where sanitation was not picked up, including mine. In time past, we would say, well, hey, just pick it up next week. We can't do that anymore. We have to hold their feet to the fire.
And so what we've been doing, Mayor Pro Tem, is communicating with the superintendent at GFL, and we've established a list. Every time a citizen calls in, we establish a recycle list and also a garbage bin list and also a bulk pickup item list when citizens call in and share that their trash or their waste items have not been picked up. We continuously send it to the superintendent, and I totally concur. I concur so much that we have a meeting with them in the morning at 9 o'clock here on site, so that we can sit down and have a discussion about how to rectify this situation, because it continues to linger. And you are exactly right. One time they did have an employee to retire. It was difficulties getting the driver there. So now they have the person to come out of retirement and return to the community, and he was injured. And so they've had a few infrastructure internal challenges, but at the end of the day, we want quality service. And so we're meeting in the morning at 9 o'clock, and I'll keep you abreast of the outcome of that meeting.
Yes, hopefully I will be here about that time.
Very good.
Also, what I did today was I went about picking up overspill. Yeah, that's the least I can do, is pick up the trash and put back in the container. But we must do something.
Yeah, we have about 10 items that the clerk and I drafted for the meeting in the morning that we want to discuss with the superintendent.
Okay, thank you.
Now, they're the one that bought out Waste Industries.
They did.
Okay, and we didn't have this issue with waste. Is that right?
But it's the same people.
It's the
Same people?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I see item number 3, I
I'm sorry,
believe
can I
that.
ask a question? Do they have any competition?
Well, we are searching alternatives in our neighboring community to see if that would work. And so we're just waiting for some responses back.
Okay. Sometimes when there's no competition, there's not an urgency to correct the problems.
I agree.
Other questions on GFL? And Mayor Pro Tem, I believe that waiver of liability is on the attorney's report, transportation waiver?
No, sir, this is a different waiver.
One? Okay.
Yes, sir. This waiver here would be in regards to the deputy that parks the patrol car in the town's parking lot. Though we welcome it, yet I believe we should get a waiver of liability, because not only does he park the patrol car, he also parks his personal car.
Okay.
And we don't want the town to be held liable for anything that goes on in the lot while it's out there. So my recommendation is that we get a waiver of liability signed by Sheriff Jack Hopkins, Northampton County, and also get one signed from the deputy when he parked his car here as well.
Okay. We bring that with the attorney.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Any board comments? before we go into executive session? Are there any board comments?
Yes, sir. I'd like to share this with the audience. We have been selected to have an Amtrak train come through here, passenger. Its ending route will be Wilmington and the stops in between back and forth. I think it's going to be an amazing miracle to have it coming on that CSX line. This was on the news the other day and I couldn't believe it. But anyway, I just wanted to make you feel a little bit better because I feel real good about an Amtrak train coming in from Rocky Mount going to Wilmington. Yes, North Carolina legislature approved that, so hopefully we'll see something.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? Is there a motion to go into executive session, NCGS 143-318.11A16, to prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential pursuant to the law of this state or of the United States, or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the General Statutes, NCGS 143-318.11A4, to discuss relating to the location or expansion of industries agreement on a tentative list of economic development incentives that may be offered by the public body in negotiation, or to discuss matters relating to military installation closure or realignment. Number 1, economic development. Number 2, acquisition. 3, personnel. And 4, attorney. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been probably moved second that we go into executive session. Are there questions? All in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much.
If anyone needs a brochure.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Anybody else need a brochure for elevation?
Okay.
Okay, good. Oh, sure, absolutely, yeah.
Did anybody report on that event that happened?